From the signing of a revolutionary document to the birth of the digital age, the United States has been shaped by pivotal moments of conflict, innovation, and profound social change. These events didn't just alter the nation's trajectory, they forged its very identity. Let's journey through time to unpack the top 10 defining moments in U.S. history. It all began with a bold declaration. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, a radical act that severed ties with Great Britain and articulated the foundational ideals of liberty and self-governance. This document, penned by visionary leaders, proclaimed that all men are created equal with certain unalienable rights, setting the 13 colonies on an audacious path toward forming a new nation. Just over a decade later, the challenge was to create a framework for that nation. The Constitutional Convention of 1787 brought delegates together to forge a government. Through intense debate between Federalists and Anti-Federalists, they crafted the U.S. Constitution, a brilliant system of checks and balances that established a durable republic and remains the supreme law of the land. In 1803, the nation's physical footprint doubled overnight with the Louisiana Purchase. This monumental land deal with France stretched the United States westward, fueling a spirit of exploration and expansion. The subsequent Lewis and Clark expedition opened up vast new territories, but it also set the stage for future conflicts over land and resources with Native American populations. The nation's ideals were put to their greatest test during the Civil War, from 1861 to 1865, a brutal conflict between the industrial North and the agrarian slaveholding South. The war tore the country apart. President Abraham Lincoln's leadership and the Union victory ultimately preserved the nation and, crucially, led to the abolition of slavery, fundamentally redefining American freedom. Following the war, the late 19th century ushered in the Industrial Revolution and the Gilded Age. A whirlwind of invention, from the telephone to the light bulb, transformed society. Factories rose, cities boomed, and waves of immigrants arrived seeking opportunity, creating immense wealth and progress alongside significant social and economic inequality. The fight for equality took another major step forward in 1920 with the passage of the 19th Amendment. After decades of tireless marching, protesting, and organizing by suffragettes, women finally secured the right to vote. This landmark victory dramatically expanded the electorate and marked a critical milestone in the ongoing struggle for equal rights for all citizens. The Roaring Twenties came to a crashing halt with the Great Depression. The stock market collapse of 1929 plunged the nation into a decade of severe economic hardship. In response, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal introduced sweeping government programs aimed at relief, recovery, and reform, permanently expanding the role of the federal government in American life. America's focus shifted to the global stage with its entry into World War II in 1941. The conflict spurred an unprecedented mobilization of the nation's industrial might and workforce, symbolized by figures like Rosie the Riveter. The war ended with the U.S. as a dominant world power, but it also introduced the terrifying reality of the atomic age. Back home, the struggle for justice ignited the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. Led by iconic figures like Martin Luther King Jr., this powerful movement used nonviolent protest to challenge and dismantle systemic segregation. Landmark legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed discrimination, marking a monumental step toward fulfilling the nation's promise of equality. Finally, the late 20th century saw the dawn of the digital age. The rise of the personal computer and the internet connected the world in unprecedented ways, revolutionizing communication, commerce, and culture. This era of globalization and rapid technological advancement continues to reshape every facet of modern American society. From a rebellious colony to a global superpower, these 10 moments are chapters in a complex and ongoing story. Each one represents a profound shift, a challenge overcome, or a principle hard won. They are the cornerstones upon which the United States was built and continues to evolve, a nation perpetually forged by change.